Hi guys, quick disclaimer before this video starts. I know in the last video I mentioned that my next video would be on Doctor Who Lost Media, but I thought I'd quickly make this video about the cancelled Deadpool Animated Series because it was something I was interested in, and since Deadpool and Wolverine was releasing I figured it's probably a good time to make it. So don't worry, the Doctor Who video is still coming, that'll be the next one, but I thought I'd get this one out the way, so hope you guys enjoy. Let's roll the intro. Deadpool. First created by Rob Liefeld in 1990, debuting in New Mutants issue 98, Deadpool has quickly become one of Marvel's most iconic and popular superheroes, being known for his raunchy and belligerent nature, as well as just generally being a massive nuisance to every character he interacts with, and we love him for it. Since his debut in the 90s, Deadpool has spanned across a multitude of media, including comic books, video games, TV shows, and movies. These days, everyone and their dog knows who Deadpool is, however this wasn't always the case. The well-documented journey of bringing Deadpool to the big screen was a hard one, with many movie studio executives not understanding the character and his sense of humour, choosing to do whatever they could to prevent him from making his way to the silver screen. Despite all of the tribulations that faced its production, the movie iteration of the character miraculously made it through production and proved to be massively successful, becoming the highest-grossing R-rated film at the time, catapulting the character into the mainstream, and spawning 2 sequels, including this year's Deadpool and Wolverine. Despite his massive popularity, however, what if I told you another version of the character in wider media wasn't so lucky and never made it through production to see the light of day? A version of the character helmed by none other than childish Gambino himself, Donald Glover, and his brother Stephen Glover. With Deadpool and Wolverine now being released in cinemas around the world and breaking more box office records, there hasn't been a better time than now to look back on this cancelled project that never made it off the ground, featuring the Merc with the Mouth. So go heat up some chimichangas and get comfy. Here's the story of Donald Glover and FX's cancelled Deadpool Animated Series. So what exactly was this show? Well, in 2017, after the success of the X-Men spin-off series Legion, that was created via a partnership between FX Productions and Marvel Television, head of Marvel Television Jeff Loeb approached FX about immediately starting production on an animated Deadpool series, with 10 episodes planned for a 2018 debut on FX's sister channel FXX. Thanks to his hit show Atlanta that was made for FX, as well as his connection to Marvel through playing Aaron Davis in Spider-Man Homecoming, Donald Glover was the ideal candidate to be the creative force that would bring this show to life, as he had already proved that he had the writing prowess that FX was looking for. They approached Donald and his brother Stephen Glover about the project, and a deal was made to start production on the show as soon as possible. Head of original programming at FX at the time, Nick Grad, had said in a statement issued to The Hollywood Reporter that, quote, Donald Glover is an incredibly gifted and versatile artist who will bring the untitled Marvel's Deadpool series to life with the same intense singular vision as his breakout hit Atlanta. With the success of Legion, we're looking forward to again partnering with Marvel Television to create a series that is bold, striking, and entirely original. By the time the series had been officially announced, a writer's room had already been established in London, as Glover was filming scenes for his role as Lando Calrissian in Solo: A Star Wars Story there. Glover had said that he wanted the show to have its own distinct vision that didn't copy previous iterations of the character, particularly the movie version of Deadpool portrayed by Ryan Reynolds. Stephanie Robinson, one of the members of the writer's room, backed up Glover's ideas for differentiating the series from previous iterations, saying the writers approached the original comic books from an angle that made sense to them, instead of trying to look at the movies or the public's general perception of the character when writing the show. It really did sound like the show was on track to give us a unique interpretation of Deadpool that could have really been an interesting take on the character, but unfortunately it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows over at FX and FX Network, and they announced in March of 2018 that they had decided to not move forward with the Deadpool series, citing creative differences. However, this wasn't the last we heard from this Deadpool show. Much like the character himself, this thing wasn't going out without some noise or fight, and the same month the show was announced as no longer being in production, test footage created by animation studio Titmouse Inc. leaked onto the internet. This test footage is where the image from the thumbnail for this video, as well as some of the footage used, originates from. The test footage shows Deadpool taking on a gang of thugs in an industrial park, with audio from the 2016 Deadpool movie used instead of new voice acting. I remember seeing this test footage when it first leaked, and man, was it disappointing to know that we weren't going to get some sort of continuation for this or have it go anywhere. It looked great at the time, and it still does now. The parts that have completed animation have a nice stylized look to them, and it seemed to capture the essence of the character in this short minute-long piece really well. It's a shame we haven't seen anything come from this since. The The same month it was announced that the show was cancelled, Donald Glover put out a series of now deleted tweets that clarified his stance on the status of the show. He set the record straight that he wasn't too busy to work on the series, despite some rumours that his schedule was packed due to his work on Atlanta, as well as multiple other film projects, including Solo: The Star Wars Story, which was mentioned earlier. He also released a script for an episode titled Finale. It should be noted that the script was more than likely written, or at the very least edited, shortly before Glover released these tweets, as it makes several references to real-life events that happened close to the time. In this script, Deadpool travels to Kenya to protect the African rhinoceros Sudan, who was a real-life white rhinoceros who was the last of his subspecies and had died several days before the script was written. I'll post a link to the full script in the video description if you want to check it out, but most of it is Deadpool speaking to Sudan, or let's be honest, Donald Glover speaking to the audience, about the cancellation of his TV show, contemplating the multiple reasons why the series could have been cancelled. He raises a few possibilities, such as it not being a good time to have a violent, gun-loving white man ranting on TV, or racism being a contributing factor, since Deadpool says that all the writers and the references were pretty black, and that the writers went over the lunch budget ordering Jamaican food once a week. There are also references to Fortnite, Tekashi 6ix9ine and the Black Panther movie, because, 2018 timely references, I suppose. Deadpool also goes on to state that it just feels like everyone wants something different, but no one wants to do anything different to get it. Doesn't Marvel have enough feel-good minority shows everyone supports but doesn't watch? I mean, I think our show would have been funny. I just wanted a place to be honest, and I guess that place is Freeform. When ranting about the possible reasons why the show was cancelled, Deadpool mentions an episode that featured Taylor Swift. In this script, Deadpool makes it sound as if Marvel wasn't too happy about the episode due to disparaging remarks made about them, mentioning that Deadpool said in the episode that Marvel just wants to sell toys to 7-year-old boys and 50-year-old p*****s. Since the rest of this script was seemingly made up on the spot, as a means for Donald Glover to vent his frustrations about the show being cancelled, you'd think this reference to a Taylor Swift episode would also be made up on the spot, but no. Apparently this was an actual episode written for the show at some point, as the episode was later confirmed by Donald's brother, Steven, on Twitter. Steven said the episode was hilarious and definitely the last straw, which implies that whatever happened in this episode could have been a major contributing factor to the show's eventual cancellation. Aside from this tweet and the mentions of this episode in the script, there is no other information on this supposed Taylor Swift episode, and there's no script that we can look at to see what was so bad about the episode that made it the quote-unquote last straw. Although I'm sure Marvel weren't too happy about the comments made by Deadpool in this episode, even in a joking manner, particularly referencing predators. Steven further elaborated that the show wasn't really black at all, contradicting Deadpool's comments made in the finale script, and said that he was proud of the team's work on the show. Both Ryan Reynolds and Rob Liefeld expressed their sadness with the decision to cancel the show, with both saying they were interested to see what Glover would have done with the character. After the show was announced to have been cancelled, FX CEO John Landgraf spoke on the series 5 months later in August 2018 at the Television Critics Association. He made it clear that the decision to cancel the show was completely with Marvel and not FX, as Marvel didn't want to do the show that Donald and Steven Glover had written, whereas FX did, and he even said that the show's cancellation is what caused Marvel to part ways with FX. He did say that he thinks that Marvel will revive the show eventually, as they own the rights to make shows based on Deadpool and all of the other X-Men characters, but I'm doubtful this will ever come to fruition, as it has been over 5 years since the show was cancelled, and Marvel hasn't mentioned a word of it since. They have taken separate forays into the realm of adult animation, with their Disney Plus and Hulu series MODOK and Hitmonkey. However, we've yet to see anything related to Deadpool in animation come from them since this show's cancellation. Even if the show was to be revived, it most likely would be something completely different, as it wouldn't have the same writers or creative team behind it, as the Glovers' vision for the show seems to be what pushed Marvel to cancel it in the first place. The animation style would also likely be different from the Titmouse Inc. test footage that you've seen in this video, as they were rejected during the production of the original FX version of the series, and were replaced by Floyd County Productions, who produced Archer for FX. With Disney parting ways with FX after the series' original cancellation, it's unlikely either of these production companies would work on animation for a revived version of the show, unless Disney were to approach them. Outside of the mentions of the Taylor Swift episode from Donald Glover's script and Steven Glover's tweets, the test footage from Titmouse, and the script for the finale, which most likely isn't the script for the actual finale, no other materials have leaked or surfaced online from this unproduced show. It's unknown how many scripts were completed or what production materials, if any, exist from this show, and none of the companies involved have spoken about the show since Landgraf's comments in August 2018. It really does suck that we never got to see this series completed, as the Glovers are talented writers and the test footage looked really cool. It also would have been interesting to see the impact the show would have had on Marvel when it comes to animation as a whole. If this show came out and was successful, could it have led to other adult-oriented animated Marvel shows? As mentioned earlier, we did get MODOK and Hitmonkey, but neither of those characters are anywhere near as popular as Deadpool and released with very little fanfare from Disney. The launch of a high-quality, adult-oriented animated series featuring a massive character such as Deadpool could have done wonders for getting more high-profile animated Marvel TV shows greenlit, but alas, it looks like Marvel has moved on from any plans for a Deadpool animated series, and this show has remained buried by the sands of time. Donald Glover seems to have a good working relationship with Disney now, starring in their crappy Lion King remakes and producing a Lando Calrissian show for them, which could give some hope that they might revive this Deadpool show eventually, especially now that they've brought Deadpool over to the MCU and are looking to be more open to R-rated interpretations of their characters. But I get the feeling this show has been permanently shelved, and we might get a Deadpool appearance in one of Marvel's other animated shows such as X-Men 97, which is great by the way. Until that happens though, if it ever does, we'll be left wondering what we missed out on with Marvel, FX and Donald Glover's Deadpool animated series that never was. Thanks for watching, I really appreciate your support. The support that I got on my first video has been insane. It's been way more than I could have ever imagined, so thanks a lot for that one guys, I really do appreciate it. If you guys want to see more videos like this one or like my previous one, which you can check out right there, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you guys have any topics that you want me to cover, or if there's any kind of suggestions that you guys have, be sure to leave them in the comments below. And also let me know if you guys prefer single topic videos like this, multi-topic videos like my first one, or a variety and kind of mixture of both. So once again, I really appreciate the support. Thanks a lot guys, and be sure to stay tuned for more videos here. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.